Welcome to the Personal Trainer Hustle. Personal Trainer Hustle. If you didn't know, you do now.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Personal Trainer Hustle. This is your host, Sam Lopez, but today we have a special guest, Megan Snyder.
Hello.
Right? What's up, Megan? Welcome onto the podcast. So just some background on Megan. You actually sent in a question to the podcast, episode 94, I believe. You might not remember the number.
I don't know.
I had to go back to. I was like, what episode was that?
Yeah.
Do you remember your question?
Yes, it was about like marketing for the businesses that were around my gym.
That's right. And I
Yeah.
just kind of threw some ideas out there. But the reason why I wanted you back on is because, you followed the page, and I went and saw your Instagram, and I saw that you had clients, you had built a business for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, well, let's talk to you a little bit about your business too. Obviously, I'm over here always talking about what I've done and how to do things the way that I see them, to be done. But tell me a little bit about you. Well, let's start with the podcast. How did we end up here? So how did you end up listening to it? What motivated you to send in a question?
I think I was looking up some like specific business question that I had, like some marketing or something about like consultations, I think, because you have a lot on consultations. So I think I just like searched my question
Oh, that's
into
funny.
Spotify to look for a podcast for that. And you popped up, and then I started listening to all your other podcasts basically. And I'm like, damn, this is really helpful. But I wanted like my specific question asked. So I finally like went in and asked my question, and you responded pretty quickly. I was like shocked to actually hear that you had answered my question. But it was really helpful. So yeah,
Were
if you
you
have a
more?
question, anyone, yeah, send in your question.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Yeah. You guys, we'll plug that in here, right? Just send in your questions. I definitely go through them and answer them.
Yeah.
Yours was pretty quick. Sometimes I take long on some, but the next thing that also happens is sometimes I reach back out, and you got a different email from me,
Oh
about
yeah.
2 weeks ago to come on here and tell us a little bit about you. So that's another thing that can happen when you send in a question. I'm sure this is the last thing you thought would happen.
I mean, I was shocked to hear the email, but it's a happy surprise.
That's awesome. So, I guess the question based on that episode that I would want to ask you too is, did you end up joining one of the classes? Did you end up, because you had a couple of things you had planned on doing. How
Yeah.
have you handled that since?
So I did do one of the like dance classes that was close by to me. I did like 6 classes, but I think I realized it's not the best because it was one of them that was like you were saying it could be like seen as competition
Mm.
towards me, but I'm a dancer, like I grew up dancing, so I kind of wanted to do it anyway. And I don't know. I think I was just doing it too quick in between like sessions and things, so I didn't have enough time to like talk to the community and stuff. I was like running back and forth between my gym and the class, so I was like it didn't work out very well. And then because there is like 3 other gyms that are next to my gym in this like complex.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, they've probably already done this kind of like relationship with the other gyms close by. So I was like, it's probably not going to be best for my situation because they're more like small studios. And they've been there for a while. So
But you
I didn't
tried.
do any flyers. Yeah, I thought about it. I
That's
thought about
awesome.
it, and I wanted someone to like kind of talk with me through it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go back to the beginning, because like I said, I wanted to reach back out to you because I noticed that you had clients. A lot of trainers that send in questions are still kind of figuring out that client getting part.
Hmm.
And I noticed that you had clients. I noticed that you had a good following on social media. But at
Hmm.
the same time, you had questions about growth. So I'm going to be curious to ask you, like, pretty much we'll go from the beginning and then kind of where you find yourself now. So I would love to know, where was Megan when you thought about even becoming a personal trainer?
I was in college and it was 2020
Okay.
and I was going to be a wedding planner. you can't be a wedding planner when there's a global pandemic. So I kind of had to think about what else I was passionate about. And during that time, I was really getting a little too much into health and fitness. I kind of got like a disordered eating and working out habits, especially when it was lockdown. I would like run every day and then lift every day and just like not eat a lot. So I was like, this is something I'm really into. I could be a trainer. But I didn't realize back then that that's like how I was taking it too far. So I finally got back into the gym in that summer. And then February of 2021, I was like, I want to get my NASM cert. And then in July of 2021, I like took the test and I did all that. And I think I was just like, okay, this is my path now. Cause like I couldn't do my other path. And I think this would be a good thing for me because I didn't really have a like specific major or path that I was going in through college. So I took my cert test in July. I moved to New York City in August, and then I got a gym in a corporate gym for a year.
Oh, okay. So
And
you did have that experience.
oh yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. What's that? Oh yeah. How was it? Was it at all what you hoped for? What was the biggest difference, if there was one, between what you thought it was going to be and what it actually ended up being?
Um, it was much harder than I thought it was gonna be. I was gonna quit like 2 months in because I would go to the gym every day and I would cry at the gym every day. Like it was really hard. I worked in Lower Manhattan, which was like financial district, and I was the only female personal trainer in my gym for the whole entire year.
Oh, whoa.
So it was a man's world down there, and especially I was only 20 years old. Everyone else was more experienced. I felt like I didn't have a place there, and they didn't respect me, I guess, as a trainer because I was so new and so young. So it took me a while to kind of get my footing and to understand what my lifestyle was going to be working at that gym. But like you always say too, like it's so important to, I think, go that corporate route when you start because I learned so much there from all the other people that I worked with. And I think having that like community of coworkers was super, what's the word? Like foundational for the skills that I learned and the trainer that I became. So
No,
I
that
don't regret it, but it's like, it's a really hard path that you kind of have to get through to become a successful trainer.
I agree.
You
And
know?
like you said, yeah, I bring that up a lot. I think and I actually when I saw your Instagram, I thought that you had just jumped into it, and so I was curious to see but it's not much different than what I always talk about with my story. I started at a corporate gym. I wanted to quit about a month in, so you have me beat by a month. I wanted to quit sooner. Nah. But no, it's all
Yeah.
around the same time. I was like, this isn't for me. Was there, obviously the environment was weird. Were you also struggling kind of how most of us did? I know I did. Was it the sales aspect? Was it the having to talk to strangers? Was it that it was taking too long to get clients? Like, what was about that? What was it about that first few months that was just so difficult to deal with?
I think it was just getting the clients and yeah, talking to strangers. I was pretty shy. And I didn't I'm introverted naturally, and I think being a personal trainer has helped me come out of my shell. And like now I feel so comfortable talking to like new clients or new people. And it's so interesting to see that development. And I think my manager helped me, but he didn't hold my hand as much. And he was like telling me things that I can do during my consult, but like didn't obviously do it for me. So I had to build that for me. He didn't give me clients. He was like, you have to be here all day, every day. And I think it was a hard environment to be in, especially because my gym was like in the basement of a building. I didn't get any sunlight. Like it was just like a little
Classic.
dreadful. Yeah.
This is
Mm-mm.
classic dungeon gym.
Yeah. Oof.
Okay, so
But it was
then,
fun.
oh yeah, I have no regret. I mean, like you said, it gives you those first fundamental things that you learn, and somebody always gives you something.
Oh
Um,
my God. My coworkers were amazing. Like the people, I feel like they were my mentors almost for that first year. Not even my manager. It was just like this one coworker had been a trainer for a decade. And I was like, why are you here? Why are you working alongside me almost? Like, you're so good. You can do so much more. but he like took me under his wing and like taught me everything I know, I feel like. So
That's actually
that's what you get.
that's an interesting topic, and maybe I'll talk about it one of these days because I had the same thought too when I had also mentors, and I mentioned them recently that had been there longer. But yeah, some people had been there in the same gym for 10 years, for a decade. And I thought the same thing. But then now, as I've grown up, I realized not everybody has that entrepreneurial mindset and spirit. And I think
Yeah.
what I'm guessing, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, you said you wanted to be a wedding planner and then a trainer. And so I'm guessing that you have wanted to do something for yourself, something that's more independent of, I guess, corporate world. Um, so is that something that came to be like, because now I mean, I want to make sure I have everything right because I haven't asked you.
Hmm.
Your personal training brand is you, right? It's Megan Snyder Fitness. If you guys want to
Yeah.
hit the follow at Megan Snyder Fitness.
Yep.
Um, so you're doing your own thing. Is that something that you always wanted to branch out into, or is that something that came about once you were working in that gym?
It's something that came about when I was working in the gym. I thought I was going to be at the gym for a while. But then I started becoming friends with more, once I started doing more social media stuff, I started becoming friends with more independent trainers in New York City. And I was like, oh, this is an interesting path. And I like saw the gym that they were working at. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Maybe I'll like start to do this a little bit and work at the gym. Oops. And my manager found out and he like sort of fired me and I sort of quit all together. So, but it pushed me into that timeline faster than I would have done it myself, I think.
Well, sometimes you need that push, you know.
Yes,
And I think that's what
exactly.
happens going back to what we were saying with people that have been there and they're better than you at training. They have all this experience and they just never leave. I think they just
Hmm.
never have that moment of like, I have to go and do this other thing, you know.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you have responsibilities. You know, I think you obviously started at a young age. I started in my early 20s as well. You don't have the same responsibilities for the most part. We can do it, and I'm glad that you did. So you started your Instagram then the same Instagram that you have now? Was that the same? Okay, so tell me about how did you get your page going? What was your first iteration of it? How did we get to where we are now?
My first iteration of it was, I think, in 2021 when I was still in college. And I was like following all these like fitness influencers, and I was like, I could be that. Let's do that. And I posted for a little bit and then I stopped posting. And then, like, maybe a year later, I started posting on the same page again. I've always been the person that has like a million different Instagrams, like a private page and a food page. And like, so it was just natural for me to create something that I was passionate about with the fitness Instagram. So I started posting on it again, maybe in like the spring of 2022. And then I left the gym in the summer of 2022. So I was kind of like, putting the
Building.
plans in action. Yes, exactly.
Cool.
I
Well,
knew
I
it was
would,
going to be an important part of being independent.
yeah, absolutely. Has that been your main source of like promotion, having an Instagram? Or
Yes, in New York it was, but then I moved to San Diego in the fall of this past year, and I've been trying to do a little bit more different marketing things and trying to learn that realm.
okay. So is the gym that I've seen though then is that the New York gym or the San Diego gym? Because it's all pretty recent.
It's probably the San Diego gym.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
With the like an M
The
or a
like
W up.
orange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, cool. Um, so I would love to kind of learn more about from you, you know, since we have everyone listening and there's you have done something right, and I would kind of want to hear your perspective on how you've done it. You know, when I
Mhm.
look at your Instagram, I actually made a note here that I wanted to make sure I mentioned because you do something that I believe is what a lot of people should do. You do a couple of things really well if you guys want to follow her Instagram. But number one is that you always show the session. You know, obviously you have
Mm.
some like tips that you do on your own, but you
Mhm.
are showing people like who your clients are and like how you train. And when I look at it, I'm like, that's how we ended up here. You know, for those people listening, the reason why I got back to you is because I was like, oh, you actually train people.
Yeah.
Because most people's Instagrams are just about them. And
Hmm.
granted, when we start, what do you got other than like videos of you working out? I get it. But what I noticed, I was like, oh, she has a few different people that she's working with. Therefore, what that tells me is whether you had 100 clients or 10,000 clients, what that tells me is people are finding you and they're looking for you and they're enjoying working out with you. And like,
Hmm.
as a trainer, that's all I need to see. So before I noticed following, before I noticed how the gym looked, what I noticed was she's working with real people.
Hmm.
So tell me a little bit about like how you've come about that. Like, are you working at that gym? Are you bringing people in through social media, referrals? Like, kind of, I don't know, explain your business model to me and how you get those
I
people.
I love that that's what you thought about because those videos are actually like fake, kind of.
Oh,
Um,
interesting. That's good.
Not fake. But I'll tell you what. So, because I moved here in the fall, I was like, I have no clients.
That's why I was trying to put it together. That's why I
Yes.
even asked you, I'm like, is this video from before or now? Because
No.
okay, so tell me, I love this. I love where this is going
So
already.
you asked me how I found you, and I think one of like the first one or two episodes that I listened to was you talking about free sessions. Long time ago. I don't even remember what number it is, but it's like an old video of yours that's like, it's okay to give out free sessions, like blah blah blah, it's gonna help, whatever. So I posted on a Facebook group. I love Facebook groups for marketing. I posted on a Facebook group, hey, I'm a personal trainer. I just moved here. I'd love to give away a free training session, but would you also be comfortable with me filming it for content? Like, so I would get people that like are okay with being filmed, maybe have a social media of their own or like something like that. And I got a bunch of answers. I don't know if it was the right time or place or whatever, because sometimes I post and there's nothing. Sometimes I
Yeah.
post and there's a lot. And so I got a bunch of like messages on Facebook and I started scheduling them on my calendar at this gym that I had already become a part of. And I just put up a tripod, put a mic on their thing, and I was like,
Heck yeah.
okay, you're going to act like my client, basically. And then I got like 4 videos out of each girl that I had for an hour. And I had so many videos, I didn't even know what to do with all of them. And I just kept posting them.
I
And that's how I did it.
love that. I absolutely
Yeah,
love that. I'm big on that. So I'm glad that you like did it because that's so cool. Because it gives the perception that you're busy and you get to show off how you do train. Like as I see you
exactly.
walking around and queuing and all that stuff and
Yeah,
the type of exercises that you choose, you know, it's very interesting. Now, I guess my next question is going to be like, what kind of conversion then have you been able to achieve from that? Because that's another, and I talk about this in the episodes too. I'm like, there's getting clients to show up, and then there's the transition
yeah.
from like the free to the, and maybe I should do some more episodes about that, but like getting to the sales part, did you have any takers, or do you find that there's something there that needs to be worked out?
I didn't have any takers, but that's also not what my goal was.
Okay.
I had another post previously on Facebook, that was like, I'm a new personal trainer and I have sessions for like a pretty cheap price. And I got a few people from that post. But as I just wanted to get more content, I didn't want to use my current clients just because they're my clients. It's like, I don't know. I don't want to like make them uncomfortable in a situation if they're paying me for the session.
Hmm.
So I was like, I'll just do free sessions for this. But I didn't get any from them, but I don't care. I got great content and
You
obviously it was
did.
helpful. And I think that content probably got me more people that I don't even know about, you know?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think so too, because one of the hardest things, like I said, is to show people what you're about and what it looks like. I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of trainers get stuck in the, like I said, just posting themselves and
Mm-hmm.
not figuring out a way that you did, figuring out a way to show what the training would look like. Because sure, you have these posts with these people that are free sessions,
Mm-hmm.
but somebody that follows you, or if you run an ad with one of those or anything like that, then that person has no idea. They just think like, oh, she's a trainer. That person looks like me. I'll sign
Mm-hmm.
up for training sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've used it to your advantage. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yep.
kudos, kudos to
Thank
like
you.
working the system and doing it that
Yeah.
way. Yeah. So I guess the gym in San Diego is new. So how did you find this gym, and what's their protocol, I guess, there?
Um, so it's a gym just for independent trainers. And
Okay.
there's two of them that are kind of in my area because San Diego is a pretty big city. So I was hoping that there would be something similar to what I had in New York City, which was called Independent Training Spot. It's a great gym. There's lots of locations, and it's like you pay per hour to bring your client in as an independent trainer. It's a great business model, and I think there should be more of them because I think it's a good transition from working at a LA Fitness or a Crunch to being an independent trainer to owning your own business.
Yeah.
It's hard to have that middle level. So I just kind of Google searched like independent training gyms, and I think I found this one on Instagram actually, and like messaged them and went in for a tour to look at the space and like asked about their pricing. And I just basically have like a membership where I pay them a monthly fee and I can go in as much as I want, bring in as many clients in as I want. And I like it a lot. I like
No,
the business model a lot.
I've talked to some of my trainer friends, and I always tell them it's a business model that a lot of people should think about. I mean, including myself,
Yeah.
I think about it all the time. I'm like, this isn't because you're right. The jump to having your own entire space is a huge one. But
Yeah.
going from training at a gym to building your business within a gym to then hopefully moving on, if that's
Yeah.
even necessary, because a lot of times you don't need to make that next step. I think that the difference between, being self-employed and having like a gym with a whole business behind it is really vision. If you
Hmm.
have some type of vision that you want to put into the world because there's a specific problem or need that you see,
Hmm.
then you have a big enough business idea that you should get locations and do. But if your mission is to just be a great personal trainer and change people's lives, that's a step that probably exactly where you're at is perfect, where you have
Yeah.
the space, you pay into it, you get all the benefits, and you get to make the money that you make extra on top of that. So,
Yeah.
no, it sounds like you've got it going on. I mean, it's still new though, being in San Diego. Welcome to California.
Yeah.
Had you been out here before?
I grew up here. I
Oh,
only was
okay.
in New York for like 2 years and I just
Oh,
moved
so
back
when you
home
said you
basically.
moved, it was from here to, I don't know if I caught that or not, but yeah, you moved from
Yeah.
from here to there to back.
Yeah.
But you weren't
Exactly.
training when you were still here,
No, I
right? The
started
training
training in New
happened East
York.
Coast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, what would you like to where do you see your business going? What are some goals that you have for your business? And we can transition into like if you're struggling with anything as well, we can talk about that. So
Hmm.
what's
Hmm.
next for you?
Um, right now I have some independent contractors, which is something we could talk about too. Like I've hired out some training for my training business, if that makes
Hmm.
any sense. So I left New York and I obviously had my clients still there. So I got some of my friends, trainer friends in New York to like take over my clients for them. So it's kind of like my clients still pay me and then I pay the contractors, but I get a little bit of it because I got the clients. So I think just building that a little bit in California too.
Hmm.
And that's you said I have my personal Instagram and then I also have my business name Instagram, which is Coastal Strength Collective. And that's like the business with me and my two girls that work in New York. And then so I think just building that into like more people if my client base grows and I can just like hire them out. That's kind of where I see the growth happening. And then from there, maybe doing like a brick and mortar, but this isn't like
Of
five
course.
plus years, but just slowly growing that, I guess, company business kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really curious about what you're doing with the collective because, and I love the coastal. Um,
Exactly.
I got it.
Yes.
Very cool.
Bi-coastal. Yes.
Bi-coastal. I love it. That's an interesting business model, that
Hmm.
I've kind of dabbled in. Not the
Hmm.
way you're doing it, where it's like long distance on some of them. And I'm assuming, are they all going to a gym or are some of them at home in between? And I guess what I'm really curious about is like, this is more detailed, but like, how do
Hmm.
you track it and how do you process the payments and things like that? Like, do you PayPal them and then, so like, tell me a little bit about just the business structure around that.
Yeah, so they still work at the gym that I used to work at in New York. They're independent trainers themselves, but they're kind of like part-time independent trainers. They're like trying to be actresses in New York too. So they're not like doing their own training business, which is helpful because then they're not like trying to take my clients out of that. And then the my clients pay through like my website, which is like a Squarespace website, and then I pay my trainers through Zelle. And then
Okay.
it's kind of hard to track it. Like I just tell them to um, put me on like their Google Calendar for when they have a session, so I can like look on their calendar how many
Mm.
sessions they did per week, and then I'll pay them weekly. And then they also send me like their rental email that they get, or receipt from the gym in New York.
Oh,
It's
wow.
tricky to track it. Yeah. I'm kind of honestly like copying one of my friend's business models. She did this and she's been really successful doing this in New York. Like she has like 4 or 5 other girls that work under her for her company. So I'm kind of trying to emanate her a little bit.
Well, that's good. You have a mentor. I mean, I was looking at you as also just getting some ideas from you and thinking, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Because yeah, like the fear of somebody taking a client from you is one. Maintaining the record of how many sessions they have and like when are they gonna,
Yeah.
are they doing packages? Like how do you charge your clients? Do you do packages, memberships? What business model do you like to apply to them?
I do subscriptions, which I've found to be really easy because the thing that I hated working at corporate was like, you're done with your 10 pack. Do you want to get more?
Yeah.
So now they're just kind of set up on like a 1 time a week, 2 times a week, or 3 times a week subscription on the website. And then they get billed on a weekly basis, which is easier for them too. Cause then it's not like $2,000 up front, cause that's like very daunting versus like, it's only 120 this week. And then next week it's like, I don't know. I've liked it and I found success with
Yeah.
it.
No, that's perfect. My fear with that model has always been, and I'm asking you because maybe you don't run into this at all, but
Yeah.
like cancellations or rescheduling or things like that, does that come up? And like, do you have to refund it or do you just carry it over?
I carry it over. It happens, with more people you have, the more your
Yeah.
schedule changes up. But I usually will, yeah, carry it over to the next week or refund them. But I'm very organized as a person, so I like look over the payments like at least once a week to make sure they're like all good and the dates are set. And I don't know, it's more of a challenge maybe than it's worth, but I've been okay with doing it.
Yeah. Does anybody in New York do any marketing or do you ever get referrals even within or is it just kind of like how you left it? They've just been able to maintain it. How does it work from long distance as far as like the whole brand? I'm sure it's complicated.
I haven't, like I said, my main source of marketing was social media in New York. And now that I'm like the San Diego personal trainer, I haven't found a lot of like generating new clients in New York. I've kind of struggled with doing that because New York is so big. It's daunting to try and market there. So they've kind of just maintained the clients that I had. I've got one new client in the 6 months that I've been there. So that have been here. Um, it's, you know, I'm trying.
No, it's this is exactly why we have these conversations and
Yeah.
why, personal trainer hustle is a thing, because
Yeah.
like this is it's never what we thought it was going to be. I mean, for very few people it is, they just
Hmm.
you decide you're going to be a trainer, you make a website, and then you're just like LA's hottest new celebrity coach. Everybody thinks
Yeah.
like that'll be your path. And then you start
That,
and the phone's not ringing and the emails are not coming in. And it's just,
yeah.
um, it's definitely a whole another career path to learn the business side and the sales side of it all. Um,
Hmm.
but did you have any questions for me?
That was my question for you, is like, how do you market your gym? Obviously, it has a brick and mortar, so that's helpful.
Mhm.
But how would you go about marketing in the big LA metropolitan city
Yeah.
area? I know you're in Culver City, so that helps like specify it.
Yeah.
But how would you go about, I guess, marketing a business now that you kind of know like what my business is organized like, and how do you market your own?
Yeah. Oh man, where can we go from here? So I'll just talk about mine, and then if you have other questions that come up specific to what you're thinking, feel
Hmm.
free. But the way that we market our business, number one, it's been a slow building of the business, taking
Hmm.
it one step at a time. So, for example, when the gym started, I wasn't good enough to market, and we weren't known enough that I couldn't just hire the trainers that you see now. Because now when you see the Instagram, for those of you guys that don't follow the page,
Hmm.
Logic Fitness underscore Culver City, if you guys want to follow it, you're not really going to see me or hear from me though, because the videos are all the trainers that work at my gym. Um, but in the very beginning, it was no different than what you're doing, that when everybody else does. I was doing the
Hmm.
sessions. And what I did, you're right, with having a location is I would stand outside of the plaza. I talk about this all the time in the podcast. And I would make these like postcard sized flyers with 3 free sessions or 5 sessions, 50% off. I would have something, and how I would market it is the old school way. I would go up to people every single day. I would have a target of either 25 or 50 people. And my target was, I knew that if before the day ended, if I went up to 50 people and handed them my card, somebody was, and I knew my numbers, and I tell people this, but I don't think they've gotten to 50 flyers, so they don't know that it's going to happen. But if you hand out 25 to 50 every week, you do the math, you multiply that times 5, you end up at 250 in a week. If you talk to 250 people by the end of the week, somebody will be interested. So if you did that
Hmm.
for 1 month, you can guarantee that you'll have 4 people by the end of the month. The problem is, who the heck has the energy to pass out 250 coupons face to face, right? So what we like is we like to leave them places hoping that but
Mm.
the thing that you're looking for when you're marketing in the beginning, if you're going to do it this route, and I'll get to other marketing things, so I'm not going to leave it at just the
Hmm.
postcards. I'll talk about Instagram too, because you have something that you could use, and I wanted to
Hmm.
talk about it.
Hmm.
Um, but if you do that, because I think about monthly, I don't think about effort, I don't think about time, right? So if you told me that I can work 1 hour a week or 100 hours a week, what I care about is that at the end of the month, I need to have 2 clients, 4 clients, 5 clients,
Hmm.
whatever it takes. That's not the issue. The issue is I need somebody to pay me so that I can pay my bills, so that I can invest, so that I can grow. I'm saying that to say that eventually you do get to the point what you guys see now, which is you don't see my face on the Instagram. I'm not doing the training sessions, right? But
Hmm.
I'm telling you guys the reality. I started there. I started at like 100 flyers a week or whatever it was,
Yeah.
because I don't have time to fail, right? If I try to wait till I figure out the perfect advertising,
Hmm.
I'm going to fall behind on my payments. I'm going to fall behind on my energy. I'm going to start to feel like I'm failing
Hmm.
and probably going to quit, which is what most trainers do. So I was like, I know what I can control. And what I can control is that person walking up to their car right now. I can walk up to them and go, hey, I'm a personal trainer. Very difficult. I had to learn that over time. Um, but what I found is most people are very friendly, and eventually somebody will say yes. Now, do you have any questions or concerns about that? Because I'll just leave that alone after this.
My gym is not in a
Okay.
busy Marshalls kind of lot. It's in
Okay.
like a business center where there's not people just like walking their dog or shopping.
Perfect. Then what I
Yeah.
would do after that is, then if you are gonna, you or anybody listening is going to apply
Hmm.
this, then I would find the closest local workout area where people go hiking, where people go jogging.
Mm.
That's always the next level. So then I would Google or drive around and go, what's the closest park where people work out? What's the closest track? What's the closest hiking spot? What's the closest stairs? Where people go for their workouts? That's the second option that you have when you're not in a plaza. And so what you
Hmm.
can do is just repeat the process. I stand at the bottom of the stairs or at the parking lot near the stairs or near the hike, and I'm
Hmm.
just doing the same thing. I'm just making contact with people as much as possible. It is not
They're
the
close
best way
by.
to market. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not. It's really not, because you're just shooting into the air hoping that you hit something. But when you're inexperienced, you don't have the awareness, the experience, the knowledge to pinpoint your targets yet.
Mm.
So the only way you can hit a target is if you shoot at everything,
Mm-hmm.
because we're not fully trained yet. The
Mm-hmm.
more training you have, the more you're going to learn, okay, for example, you have a postpartum,
Mm-hmm.
it's part of, okay. So now we're getting closer, right? Now you
Yeah.
have a niche that you're going to go after. Now your content and your videos have to speak to the issues that that person has. And that's like
Yeah.
but it takes a lot of practice because, it seems easy when I say it. People are going to go, yeah, yeah, I'll make videos about pregnant people. Or you have to put yourself in the mind of the person. What
Mm-hmm.
if I was pregnant right now and I was like, what am I thinking? Okay, I'm getting fat. I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, put that in somebody's. Okay, so write that down, right? Like, okay, I'm feeling insecure about this. Maybe my partner and how they view me. I'm worried about my body changing. I'm worried about not being able to get back to the shape that I was in. And now you
Mm-hmm.
start making lists and lists of all of the thoughts that could cross that person's mind. And
Mm-hmm.
now you need to make a video that speaks to that,
Mm-hmm.
specifically that, not just, hey, I'm a personal trainer in Culver City, come check me out, right? I have to go, the beginning of that video that I'm going to use as an advertisement now has to
Mm-hmm.
be number one, an image that they recognize. So probably a woman laying down on the couch, tired, reaching for a donut. Because when they see that image, she's going to go, I see myself in her. And now I
Yeah.
captured attention, right? So now I'm talking about the more advanced marketing that I've
Marketing.
gotten to now. So when I make a video, I want the first image and the first phrase to be something that that person, when they see it, they're going to go, that's me.
Mm.
The problem is usually when we begin, it's too general. It's like I have a 21-year-old guy doing back squats. A woman that sees that's probably not going to want to train with me. A
Yeah.
pregnant woman that's not going to train with me. A scrawny guy that's like afraid to touch the weights because he's like feeling insecure or anxious about the gym. That person's not going
Mm-hmm.
to call me. And so we think, well, I mean, who doesn't want to be a 21-year-old guy squatting 300 pounds? Most
Pregnant
people.
women. Yeah.
Yeah, most people, right? So, but here's the thing, because that takes money, it takes, either you learn to edit your own videos or you have to hire people to act
Mm-hmm.
for you or you have to hire people to edit the videos. What happens is most of us don't have an extra $500 to make a commercial.
Yeah.
And even if you do,
Yeah.
you might not have the idea down. So what happens is in marketing, you get better and better. So what happens is you might invest $500 to make this great commercial and realize I never told them where to call.
Mm-hmm.
I just missed it completely. Because
Mm-hmm.
I see that all the time. That's one of my biggest things. When I watch an ad, these are the questions that I ask. Where are you? Are you like down the street from me or are you 10 miles away? Because that's going to
Yeah.
make a big difference. Um, Number two, what's the first step that I'm supposed to take? Okay, your gym seems cool. So what do I do now? Do I just double tap it and keep scrolling? So what's
Yeah.
the call? What am
You
I
need a call to
supposed to?
action. Yeah.
Yeah, and it needs to be streamlined. The second thing is the landing page. So let me back up though a little bit and pause just in case. Is there anything that you're thinking, or did I skip over anything? Because once I get on a roll, now it sounds like the podcast, doesn't it? I'm like, brrr.
No, no, no. It's helpful. I want to like interject a question, but I also don't want you to lose your train of thought.
No, no, it's fine. I
Um,
can.
what are your thoughts on like you've been saying like video ads and stuff like that? What do you feel about like ads on social media, if that makes sense? Like a paid ad on Instagram or
Oh my
Facebook
God.
or
I
what have
literally
you.
have it in the notes to make an episode about that coming up soon.
Okay.
But I also want to have the reason why I haven't done it yet, one, because we scheduled this, but two,
Hmm.
I want to have a video element to it showing you guys that part too.
Mm.
Because there's like yeah, you guys will get the hack, right? I want to do a script and also how to think about the video and
Hmm.
stuff like that.
All the different things that you need in there, like you were saying, like make it
Yeah.
engaging in the beginning, at the end, be a
Yes,
call to
exactly.
action.
Because if not, you're just going to run an ad and, Instagram
Yeah.
makes their money. But my opinion on it, I think, I hate to say this because now the competition's going to know. It is the
Mm,
most underutilized thing that anyone can do. I am
really?
surprised. I am surprised at how little people use it
Hmm.
and how inexpensive it is.
Oh,
It's
I don't know how much it is.
You haven't
How
tried
much does
it?
it cost? No.
You could do as little as $1 a day
Huh.
if you wanted to. It has a
Yeah.
scale, right? So, sometimes I'll run. I mean, obviously in the aggregate, by the end of the week, you'll be spending 20 bucks, 100 bucks,
Yeah.
whatever. Um, but what it does, and this is what I want to do the video on, is you can pick any post that you have if you haven't tried it yet. Have you tried it yet? No.
No.
Okay. So as long as you have a business page,
Hmm.
it will flip your post and it'll give you an extra button at the bottom of every post that you have. And it says boost reel or boost
Hmm.
post. That's a blue
Yeah.
one. If you click on that, it's going to take you to a different page and it's going to ask you, what do you want the bottom of it to say? Learn more, book now, I
Mm.
don't know, buy now, whatever. It has like a call to action button. So they create those options for you. I usually use the learn more or the book now.
Hmm.
And then you're going to put your website that you want that traffic to go to.
Hmm.
Unless you want more followers, then it has an option for that too. So then it doesn't link them to anything but your Instagram page. So you can get more
Mm.
followers that way. So it gives you
Yeah.
options to pretty much where do you want this ad to go if they click on it.
Hmm.
Um, it gives you the option to where you want to do it. Do you want to do it by city or do you want to do it by distance from a location? So what you could do is set your
Oh,
address. You can set
the
your
gym.
address and then say 3 miles, only within 3 miles of the gym, only within 5 miles
Hmm.
of the gym. So just so you guys know, to be transparent, that's how we market our gym now on social media. We make an ad,
Oh.
we have the address, and then we target maybe 4 miles because it's LA. So
Yeah, mine's wider.
yeah, so you might be able to go 6 miles if you want.
Yeah.
And what it does is all it does is it pops up on people's phones, and you can target like what interest. So for yours, if you wanted to people that are having a baby or just had a baby, um,
Hmm.
you can look for baby clothes as like so you can target people based on their interests.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you can go in there, you can put no interests, you can put people like your followers, which I've tried. It doesn't work that well for me because it's not, I don't know, it just didn't work for me, but you can
Specific.
try. But that's why I was saying when it gets more advanced like this, it's an
Hmm.
investment and you might miss,
Hmm.
and it takes a while where it's like, oh, let's see what happens if I go 10 miles. Okay, I wasted $100. 10 miles doesn't work.
Yeah.
Let's invest another $100 on ads for pregnant women. Well, I guess they don't gravitate to my gym, so that's not working. And now I'm $200 in,
Hmm.
and now it's like, well, maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it's the text on my ad. Maybe it's the video. Maybe it's the music. Maybe it's the script that I used. Maybe it's the images that I
Mm.
used, right? So there's a lot of little things, but it doesn't have to be that perfect for it to work. I'm just letting everyone know, like, those are the things I'm watching. I'm looking at the image. I'm looking at the sound. I'm looking at the, um, and not so much the quality of it, but more than anything, the message of it all. But to answer your
Yeah.
question and to throw it back to you, I think that like for me personally, we only use Instagram ads right now.
Wow.
Hmm. And
And
obviously
that's
word of
successful.
mouth.
It's great.
Um, Another thing, since we're talking about advertisements, if anybody made
Hmm.
it this far into the episode, I always say this, I'm like, if you make it to the end, that's when we get warmed up.
Yeah.
Um, One of the most important things as you set up your business long term right now is setting up a website. And I
Hmm.
didn't look around, I didn't look at your website, but another part of advertising that a lot of people miss
I know what
is
you're gonna say. Sorry.
I don't know, I was just going to say the landing page, the website. That's all.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say SEO.
Yes, that comes next. So yeah, you're right. I was going
Okay.
to get to that.
Okay.
So that is long-term thinking, not short-term thinking. So
Hmm.
long-term, let's say you survive for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Eventually, you want to make your life easier. That's why I said when I started, it was flyers because nobody
Hmm.
knows you. And everybody, I'll just throw this in here for anybody listening, but everybody needs to check their egos. Nobody knows you, nobody cares about you, and that's just the truth.
Hmm.
That's why I had to force people to care about me with handing them a coupon or a flyer. But eventually, while I was passing out those flyers and being uncomfortable, I had set up my website. So let's get back to
Hmm.
the point. I set up my website and I had set up my SEO words search. The
Yeah.
problem was I'm ranking, now we rank in the first pages, but back then you had to go 5 pages deep, 7 pages
Yeah.
deep, whatever it is, which is where most trainers I'm going to give you guys this as homework right now. Go and type into Google personal trainer in your town and see where your page comes up. And
Yeah.
that's going to be a brutal moment of trying to find where your page ranks and how people are going to find it. That's just how it goes. Oh, what's up?
I sorry, I'm like raising my hand to let you finish it.
That's fine.
Yeah, speaking of Google and like Google Business and stuff, do you do a lot for Google Business for your gym? Like get as many reviews as possible and like
Yes.
use
Ooh,
that to your
that's
best advantage.
man,
I feel like you haven't talked about that very much. Yeah.
that's perfect. I know there's always so many little topics, but this is going to be a great episode. The great
Yeah.
questions. And I hope people listen this far because now we're getting into the business stuff, right? And this is really
Hmm.
good. This is really important. Um, yes, your Google business should also be set up, and you should take the
Hmm.
time to make sure that everything is there because now, so when I had started, we used Yelp a lot, and we still have a Yelp,
Oh.
but do you know Yelp?
Yeah, they've been like trying to set me up on yeah, I have
Yeah,
it.
don't worry about that.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna say it. I was like, just on the video, I'll show you. Like,
Yeah.
I've tried it a few times. Personally, I think you have more control with advertising on Facebook and Instagram. You're
Hmm.
going to get
Yeah.
way more return on what you do for yourself than what they can do for you.
Hmm.
Also, and this is what I always talk about, think of yourself as the consumer. How many times do we click on advertisements at the top of a Yelp or a Google, right? It's very rare. But
Yeah.
we might like an ad, like you said, you found your gym on Instagram.
Hmm.
So look at your
Yeah.
behavior, right? Instagram got you to look deeper.
But I'm also like
You
23,
are,
so I'm on
that's true.
Instagram. Like,
That's true.
I don't know if
Yeah.
moms are on Instagram as much.
Well, now I guess a little bit more, but you have
Yeah.
Facebook, Facebook, you'll be able
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, and we'll keep going because there's like so many different branches of it, but there's nothing wrong with using Yelp ads. But again, it's just it's all about where you are in your business. Do you
Hmm.
have the extra $300 a month to invest in that to figure out if it's going to work? Because what they're going to tell you is, well, it doesn't really work until about 4 months, 5 months from now. But now you have to trust them to start getting
Yeah.
steam. So I've tried it. I didn't like it. But in the beginning, having a Yelp page really used to bring us in a lot of business. People used to use
Mm.
Yelp. This is just my experience. You guys may have different experiences, but about 5 years ago plus, we
Hmm.
used to get a lot of people that said they found us on Yelp or through Yelp or anything like that.
Hmm.
Now it's mostly Google. Now, I don't know if that's because of the growth of the business that now people just find us on Google, but
Yeah.
just about 3 months ago, I actually put up something in the gym that said, like, if you don't mind, leave us a Google
Review
review.
us.
And then what I
Yeah.
did is
That's
I did
great.
a QR code directly
Yeah.
to our Google page so that they didn't even have to search us. So people would just scan it
That's
and
great.
then they would just leave a review. Because I think currently right now that's where it's at. I think most of
Hmm.
us are looking at Google reviews and pretty much
Yeah.
the Google business page has kind of become a business page too. So you have your website,
Yeah.
but you also have to think about your business Google business page. Now, who knows where we're going to the future? Maybe Bing will make a comeback of some sort.
Yeah. Or
Or go,
GoDaddy.com or
yeah, or
Yahoo. I don't
DuckDuckGo
know.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Um,
I also wanted to ask you about Thumbtack.
ooh, I've
Do you know
heard a
what
lot. I've
Thumbtack is?
never used Thumbtack. I've heard a lot of great things about Thumbtack.
Okay.
Have you tried it?
I have, because the manager of my gym in San Diego was like, you got to get on Thumbtack. It's great. And it was like what you're saying for Instagram, like you put in a lot of money and you're like,
Oh, you do
what's
have to
gonna happen?
pay.
Yeah, you pay for every person that like reaches out to you, basically.
Okay.
So it's a
That,
very strange business model, and it's kind of expensive. Like at first, I was like, "Oh my God, like do I want to do this?"
yeah.
But it got me clients, and
I was
it's
gonna
been
say,
worthwhile.
I could see it working because you at least have to pay if you get a chance to sell them,
Yeah,
and that's not bad. It's better than the ones that are like, well, we're just gonna put your name on a page and we'll see what happens from
yeah.
there. So
And they see like your background and stuff. But I mean, it's a lot of money that I put into it, but I think it's been beneficial because I've gotten some long-term clients from it. So it's like you have to invest to get that out of it.
exactly,
But it's
exactly.
hard to put that in and trust that you're going to get some.
hmm
I
That's
don't
why
know.
I always say like it's a long-term thing that happens with every business when you're starting. Like you at least maybe have some clients in New York and you have some experience
Yeah.
and you know people will sign up with you, your training. So maybe you felt like, okay, I could put, I don't know how much it was, $100 or
Yeah.
more. I can
Oh,
risk it a
more.
little bit and
Yeah.
500. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never used Thumbtack, so I don't know, but that's good advice for other trainers listening. Like if
Yeah.
they haven't thought about it, you guys can look into
Thumbtack was
Thumbtack
good.
for sure. All I
Hmm.
can say is that a lot of my trainer friends mention Thumbtack
Hmm.
and that they get clients through there. I just haven't used it, but I actually may go check it out now that you mentioned it. So,
Yeah, you
haha.
should. Because I think it's also like think of as yourself, think of yourself as your as a consumer. They'll look on like that type of
Yeah.
place to look for trainers.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, oh, it's just for old people, but like, no, like I did get an old like a few old people from it, but I also got a girl that's like 30. So it's like,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
you never know. You never know who's looking
you
for
never know.
what. And
Yeah.
like that's somewhere where our gym excels. Funny enough, you said older people because when I started the gym, and this
Hmm.
can be, inspiration for you or for somebody listening, there are so many different business models, right? If you're doing
Hmm.
mothers, um, then obviously they're probably most of them not going to be over 40, definitely
Hmm.
probably not. Not that it's not possible, but obviously as
Not
time
as
goes, it's going to
common.
be less
Yeah.
likely. But that's where like a gym like Logic exists, right? Because our whole thing is, okay, what about when you do get of a certain age? Don't you want a
Hmm.
trainer too? Don't you want to be fit?
Hmm.
Don't you want to live a long time? So we come in and we go, all right, you're 60. Come on in. Like this is a place where we're going to
Yeah.
help you out. So there's just so many ways to look at it. There's mothers, there's fathers, there's so many things going on. So
Hmm.
it's just good to kind of like have an area. Like even what you're saying, your crowd, so you're filtering
Hmm.
everything through like that's not kind of the client that I'm looking for. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it differently, right? Whereas for you,
Yeah.
you're like, well, maybe it's older people, but for somebody like me, that works more maybe. So I'll try
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is everyone needs to do what you're doing and what I'm doing, which is like think about who your client is and where they may or may not be, because a lot of these
Hmm.
ideas, it's not that they're good or bad, it's just who are you looking for? Like
Hmm.
maybe one idea works great in one area and not in another.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, hopefully I kind of got into it. But yeah, I think Thumbtack is a great idea from what I've heard from trainer friends that I have. They
Yeah.
all have gotten clients. Even you're telling me you got clients from it.
Yeah.
So that's great. It's something that I should look into. But yeah, like I said, mostly we use Instagram ads. And at this point, a lot of our business comes from just organic Google searches,
Yeah. That's
right?
great that you can get
Going
up
back
to
to
there. Yeah.
the SEO.
Yeah.
But that takes a long time. Oh, but what I was going to say, this is another thing that people need to think about since you've got me thinking, unless you had a question.
Mhm. No, I
Okay.
mean, I always have a question, but
I love that.
you can continue.
Well, going back to websites, and this is something I've been thinking about a lot too, that I need to talk to all of you guys about is
Hmm.
understanding how to build a website that converts is also something that people should study a little bit, because a lot of times there's usually, what do I want to say, two or three types of websites. So the website I see the most is a website that looks beautiful but does
Hmm.
not convert, right?
Mm.
So if you guys want, like, and our website at the gym is not the absolute best.
I was gonna look it up after this. Yeah,
Yeah.
you made me. Yeah.
But what you can look at it is look at the structure of it. No, don't worry about the pictures. Don't worry about the copy and like, spelling errors and all stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, it brings you in to like what your issue may be, and it always has a call to action.
Hmm.
So what does it matter? Sorry, I have to plug this in. I just saw that. I just saw the battery down. What what a lot of people don't think about with the website is that the website has to exist or any page, your Instagram page, your
Hmm.
website, every page, the point of the page is to speak to the person in a way that gets them to want to take an action.
Hmm.
And a lot of the times, with our own pictures or with our own stories, that is not convincing the person to train with us. So if I go on there and I start by saying, well, I started training back in 2009, 2010, and let me tell you, when I started, I got certified through NASM. Your client doesn't care about NASM. You care about NASM. You
Yeah.
know, your client doesn't care about how much you squat or how ripped you are. You care about how
Yeah.
much you squat. So learning to look at the website through the lens of the person is something that is just very overlooked. You know,
Hmm.
we go based on I just talked about this. Oh no, it was a video for work. But I use the example of a house. People want to paint the house and decorate the house. Nobody wants to dig the foundation for the house,
Hmm.
right? That's not fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so when it comes to building anything, any website or Instagram or anything, um, you have to think about it like the foundation. You know, sure, the pictures are great if you have quality pictures. If you have
Hmm.
videos, it's great. If you have somebody that designs it with like the perfect colors, that's wonderful. But if the website isn't taking them somewhere, guiding them
Hmm.
to take an action, then that part is also where a lot of advertising, and how I'm going to tie it all together is even if you use um, Instagram ads, Facebook ads, any type of ads, Google ads, they're all going back to your website.
Yeah.
And so what a lot of people don't realize is it's not that the ad didn't work, is that that person thought, oh yeah, maybe I need a trainer. They clicked on it, they scrolled through and went, maybe later.
Hmm.
And you lost them at that point. You didn't lose them clicking through, you lost them
Hmm.
at the last moment. And that part is on us. So when
Hmm.
I look at the numbers, I go, I just had a meeting with Sean last week. I was like, dude, we had this many hundred people come to this website this day, and we got one call.
Oh.
What the F? You know? So then my job, because this is the part that I do that people don't see, I look at those numbers and I go, let me read through everything all over again.
Hmm.
And go, no, I think this is not working here. Let me try. And then I make a change. Let me try a
Hmm.
different text in the beginning. Maybe this is important to people. I try it. I run the ads again and I go, oh, okay, this time we got 5. So the issue was the text. And
Yeah.
and then this is why like it's a whole nother job, right? Like now for
Yeah.
me, it's a
It's a
whole
whole
nother
other
job
job.
where I'm like, I have to look at this. But since you're thinking about business, I think it would be important for you to look at that side of things too.
Yeah.
How do you tell the story? Can people still sign up on the East Coast? And like, do you have a website that caters to both?
Hmm.
Um, do you have a website right now? I mean, I didn't really look, so I don't, okay, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
it's 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 a lot. It's a lot, and I don't. Yeah, I would focus on getting clients right now, though. That's that's the
I
most
have a
important thing.
question for you then. How
Yeah.
did you learn how to do it? Books? That's what I was going to say. What books do you recommend?
Um, for websites, let's see. I would suggest. Oh man, there's so many, and I'm trying to remember what I learned from each one. But one that comes to mind is called Click Millionaires.
Mm.
Um, that one just kind of got me thinking about online. Oh, that book on funnels. You know which one I'm talking about? It's
Mm-mm.
called, is it Funnels? Sorry, everyone. I am gonna look it up right now to tell
One of
you
my
guys.
questions was like, give me all your book recommendations because I love all the book recommendations that you give.
Oh, awesome.
I
I love
always
it.
save them. Yeah.
So another great one, this one right here is really good, one that I've actually wanted to read again. It's called .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. You
Mm.
guys should pick that up. That one talks all about the funnel that we were talking about. How does a client go from seeing an
Hmm.
ad to clicking on an ad to landing on a page to clicking a purchase?
Okay.
So I would do that. Most recently, I read Positioning. It is a
Mm.
book. It has a face, like a face facing sideways of like a, I don't know. You'll know. I forget the authors though, but it's
Like where to
Positioning.
put things on websites to make it more
No, this one isn't the website
intuitive.
itself. This one
Okay.
is about positioning like what are you saying and what position do you hold in someone's mind? So when somebody thinks about Megan Snyder Fitness,
Hmm.
what do they think?
Hmm.
So that's
I don't
positioning.
know.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Okay.
So that'll be a good book to think about too. What do you stand for, right? What do people
Hmm.
think about when they think about you? Do
Yeah.
you stand for training younger people, older people, for programming, for being fun, for being dynamic,
Hmm.
for being the friendliest, for being the most intelligent?
Yeah.
Um, so it'll teach you to think about that, and how do you position yourself to where you own you own an idea, and it's
Hmm.
very difficult, but it would be really good for everyone to read positioning. And then
Okay.
the last one I've been reading this week, super boring book, but this one is actually more exactly what you're talking about, how to build your website. It's called
Yeah.
Conversion Optimization.
Oh, sounds fancy.
It's really old. So
How
here you
does it
go.
help then if it's like an old,
So I literally
oh, it's
have it
like a
right
textbook.
here. So yeah, so
Okay.
it's like a textbook. So this is Conversion Optimization, the art and science of converting prospects to customers.
Okay, gotcha.
And then this is another old book that I got. It's just called Marketing Warfare. Um, yeah, super old.
Interesting.
Like this looks like it's
I feel like
fading.
it's not going to be up to date with the
A lot of
2024.
stuff isn't. A lot of stuff
Yeah.
isn't. But the way I found these books is because I typed in like I was looking for what do the current marketers and what do the current website developers read, and they all
Hmm.
suggest these things. So I'm like, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me.
Website developers, you're really getting into tech field of it
I mean, I
all.
don't, yeah, they develop the websites. I can't develop a website worth crap, but I can use the tools that we have, like Wix and Squarespace and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
exactly.
Um, because at the end of the day, yeah, all that matters is what the person is going to feel and learn and the actions that they're going to take on your website.
Hmm.
It would be a whole class. I mean, this is something we would have to look at like bit by bit, but just like I had thought about doing a video content for making an ad, I also was thinking like, oh, building at least a one-page website would be another good video to share with you guys.
Mm,
Um, because yeah, it doesn't have to be that complicated. You just need certain
no.
elements. Because if the person went to the website, they're looking for something. So what you
Hmm.
need is just to fulfill what they're looking for. They
Yeah.
didn't get this far not wanting to purchase anything at all. They got this far thinking that you have a solution. The problem
Hmm.
is they didn't find the solution with you, whatever that solution is, and it's a whole nother world um, to delve into. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited that we're talking about marketing and stuff.
Yeah. No, that
Because
was
I don't
my.
normally get to talk about it, It's mostly the training aspects and like the sales and marketing aspects at that level, but there's
Hmm.
like the next level too.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, to answer your question, I know I went and gave you book recommendations, but
No,
the
you're
way I
good.
learn everything is I have a very simple strategy, and if I could share it with you and everybody else, is I always tackle the issue at hand. So,
Hmm.
what is the issue right now, right? If you're a new trainer trying to get clients, you should
Hmm.
figure out what you need to learn to get clients.
Hmm.
Once you master getting clients, then you need to figure out how to get clients for others.
Hmm.
That's how you grow the business. Once
Hmm.
you master that, then you can get a location because you've
Yeah.
learned all of those things. The problem with a lot of people and even some of the listeners is they're trying to jump into getting a location, but you don't know how to get your first 5 to 10 clients yourself. If you
Yeah.
lack that knowledge, then you're not ready for the game. You know what I mean? Like if you don't know what a strike is, but you think you're ready to play in the major league, it's like you don't even know the rules yet, right? You have to at
Hmm.
least learn the rules to even have a chance to play the game. Um, so the way I've structured my business and my life is whatever issue it had. So right now, that's why I have these books about
Hmm.
conversion, because the bigger issue now I have a staff of four trainers. I need to
Hmm.
make sure that all of them have 15 to 20 one-on-one clients, and not just
Yeah.
that, but like top paying. So it's not just I need a client by the end of the week or the end of the month. I need all of them to have one or two more clients by the end of this month. So
Yeah.
it's a different game we're playing. So now I know, okay, they know how to train. I have somebody in place that teaches them how to train. They know how to sell, and I have a manager that knows how to sell. So if I keep learning to sell, it does nothing for me. And if I keep learning
Hmm.
how to train, it does nothing for me. So I could tell you
Hmm.
guys right now, I'm going to go get my 10th certification. Doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
What I need is higher conversions. I need more traffic and more
Yeah.
conversions to be able to keep, but it didn't start that way. First, I just
Hmm.
had to, like what you said, going all the way back to your first job in New York.
Yeah.
The very first step of all of this was to build up the courage to talk to somebody at the gym.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know how to do that, and so what I did is I started reading books on conversations, on
Hmm.
selling, on opening. I even read books on like pickup, like how do you talk to like a woman, but it
Yeah.
all helped me because I was like, what? Because the thing is, I was like, well, there's not really books on like how to approach somebody other than like these two books on how to approach somebody.
Yeah.
I was like, let me see what I can get from that. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, number one, like what I learned from those books was like, don't think too long. Like just keep like start moving. And so I
Hmm.
started applying that in the gym. I was like, all right, don't think about it too long. Start moving towards them. Another thing that I learned was whatever you say doesn't matter as much as how you say it and like
Mm.
how you hold your posture
Body
because
language. Yeah.
most people don't hear what you say. So like they didn't expect to hear from you, so they're not really listening to you. They're just kind of
Yeah.
feeling your. So I started applying that at the gym too. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna say like, "Hi, my name is Sam. I'm one of the trainers here," and they're gonna go, "Okay," and then I
What?
was like,
Yeah.
then I'll follow up with something else. So,
Hmm.
yeah, that's my method for learning all this stuff. It's I just learn wherever I can. I mean, I even asked you about how you did stuff because I was like, I
Yeah.
am here to learn whatever. Like, I haven't used Thumbtack, so
Yeah.
I want to know what your experience is. I want to learn how you got the Instagram stuff off the ground. I want to learn how you have your, I asked you about like, how do you have your model with East Coast? Because if there's something that I don't know, I want to know it. It's going
Hmm.
to make me better. And I'll just say this to like stop my rant, but I think that's what a lot of people are missing. You have to just respect everyone because
Yeah.
everyone can teach you something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And a lot of times in training, because we're the fittest or we have the most followers or we lift the most, we have this ego that, like, just because you can lift 300 pounds, 400 pounds doesn't mean you know how to market. Just
Yeah.
because you know how to sell doesn't mean you know how to build a business. Just because you can build a business doesn't mean you know how to work out. So everything that goes into building a business, they're all their own categories that you have to be a master in.
Hmm.
Um, and I'll say this again, like I said to the end, a lot of us haven't even mastered the training part, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And we're talking
Yeah.
about building businesses or whatever. It's like, teach me how to squat. Well, I don't know how to do that. It's like, okay, well
Or
then we
build
need
a client relationship and
right.
communicate. Like those are all most important things. And then it's like once you get that down, you go into like building your own
Mhm.
business, I think.
Yeah, because now you know what clients want. How can you
Hmm.
sell a client when you don't know what the clients want? So you have to figure that out first so that you can present
Hmm.
that to the next person, the next person.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I hope we have about an episode. Is there anything
Okay.
that we missed or anything that you wanted to make sure you asked or mentioned?
No, got
Yeah.
book recommendations even. So you pretty much knocked everything off my list. It was pretty good. I just want to say thank you because I have gotten a lot from your podcast, and I think it's been really helpful
Oh,
and I think everyone will find help in your podcast too. And I wish more people knew about it. And I do try and like share like that this helped me a lot and stuff. So thank you.
well, I appreciate it. Well, thank you for being
Yeah.
on the podcast because that you did your part, right? You came on, you told people, you told them your story, you were
Yeah.
open and honest,
Hmm.
and people are going to listen to this, and I hope that they relate to where you're at too, and I think
Yeah.
that's why I want to talk to you guys because I want to make people feel that like you're not alone in what's going on. That's my big
Yeah.
thing. I think
Hmm.
we feel like we're getting it wrong, and it's like, no, you're not. This is just the process. This is
Hmm.
how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I know I
Thanks for
rant and
having
rave a
me.
lot, but it was nice
No, it's
also knowing your
good.
story. We'll keep in touch. You're not too far. So many people
Nope.
are on the East Coast that I found out, but you are one of my West Coast people.
California, yeah. I mean, I'm only like 3 hours away.
Only 3 hours
Ugh,
away, but still, I love San Diego. I've even thought about moving to San Diego in the past. I'm like, if I
there
didn't
you
live in LA,
go.
I would love to live in San Diego.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Megan Snyder. You guys can follow, if you guys want, follow Megan Snyder Fitness
Hmm. Hmm.
or Coastal Strength Collective,
You got
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
but you can
go.
find that on your page. If you guys go to Megan Snyder
Hmm.
Fitness, you guys can see all the stuff we talked about, her
Yeah.
videos and everything. And
My
you know,
client.
your clients,
Yeah.
hey, wink, wink. Well,
My fake clients.
some of your
Yeah.
fake clients. I love it. Keep it up. I like your,
Thank
I mean, I
you.
didn't get into it, but I also like your messages and like the videos, the other videos that you do that are not just your clients. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah. I try and be educational and less like all about
Yeah.
me.
Oh, we didn't cover that, but that's what I wanted to tell you that you are willing to speak and to give a message, and I think you
Yeah.
have something there that a lot of trainers don't have. And if you honed in on that a little bit more with your ads, I think people
Hmm.
will gravitate to that because just from my experience, what a lot of people want is to know the trainer as a person, and a lot of
Yeah.
trainers only show their workouts, only show their shot, and that's fine, but every once in a while, you need to look at the camera and let
Yeah.
them know what you think. And a lot of people don't feel comfortable doing that. And I think you do that on top of showing the clients in the sessions. You have a
I
lot of
never
good
show my
things.
own workouts, which is
I
like
don't, yeah,
a
yeah, I didn't even
big
think, but you
common
see,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You're focused on
Them and
like
not me.
exactly the
Hmm.
person and not you. And I think that's very powerful. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, from what I see, you're on the right page, and you're better at that than I am, that's for sure.
Thank you. Hey, that comes with being Gen Z, I feel like a little bit. I grew
Yeah,
up with it a
it
little
was like
bit.
I got it. Yeah, so yeah, we'll be keeping in touch, and I hope to see your business grow East Coast, West Coast, and all around.
Yeah.
All right, so keep it up. Thanks for listening. Thanks again. Follow Megan Snyder Fitness
Thank
on
you.
Instagram. And if you guys want, you can follow Logic Fitness _ Culver City. That's me. Some people have been asking about finding me, and I'm trying to hide from
You gotta
everyone.
get your own Instagram.
Maybe there is
No
one out there. It's
affiliate.
just hidden.
Gotta make it private or public.
All right, you guys. And as we close up, make sure you guys send in your own questions. We'll answer it on one of the upcoming episodes. And who knows, maybe you guys will also come on the podcast just like Megan
Oh,
did. So,
yeah.
Megan, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sam. Have a good day.